Good day. My name is Richard Ako. You might call me Nana Kwesi Ajiman or Ammonia. You can find me under Richard Ako or Ammonia 84. That's my YouTube channel. Are you aware that there are some stories going around that Reverend Osei Kofi scored 5 goals consecutively in the AFCON 1968? Maybe you've heard it. And you don't know which one is true. I'm here to tell you the truth. It's not true. It never happened. Yeah, it never happened that way. I'll come to that with the matches that was played in 1968 Nations Cup. Ethiopia hosted the 1968 Nations Cup. By the way, it was the first AFCON that we had 8 teams of 2 groups competing. Previously, there were 6. In 1963, 1965, were 6 teams, and then for the first time in 1968, 8 teams participated in the Nations Cup, and for the first time, semi-final was introduced before the final. So 2 teams from each group, which is Group A and Group B, and Ghana found itself in Group B. In Group B, there were Ghana, Senegal, Congo Kinshasa, and Ghana, Senegal, Congo Kinshasa, and Congo Brazzaville. That were in the Group B. Ghana played its first game against Senegal. I'm talking about Osei Kofi scoring 5 goals, and I'm here to prove you that Osei Kofi never scored 5 goals consecutively. In fact, Osei Kofi never scored 5 goals in 1968. He scored 4 goals. Yeah, it was Wilberforce Kojo Mfum who scored 5 goals. And that Wilberforce Kojo Mfum was closer to scoring 5 goals in consecutively. Yeah, in 5 consecutive matches. Wilberforce Mfum was closer to that record. I'll come to that. We played the first game with Senegal. It was 2-2. Ghana scored 2 and Senegal scored 2. I remember Yongwe scored the first goal in the 10th minute before Osei Kofi equalized for Ghana in the 63rd minute. That was goal number 1. And then Fum scored the second goal in the 87th minute for Ghana. Our second game was against Congo Kinshasa. You can say, you can call it Zaire. That is how we used to call them. But it is Congo Kinshasa, Congo DR. That's the proper way of saying it. DR Congo. Yeah, we beat them 2-1. Osei Kofi again scored a penalty, and that was goal number 2. Mfum added the second one in the 84th minute. Yeah, so Osei Kofi has 2 goals, and Mfum has 2 goals. Our third game was against Congo Brazzaville. Yeah, Osei Kofi scored twice. He scored twice, and then Mfum added 1. It was 31 against Congo Brazzaville, and then Mbono was a player from Congo Brazzaville. In 1972 finals against Mali, he scored 2 goals at the final. Yeah, he scored 2 goals at the final, and then the other player called him Pele. He also scored the other one to make for the Congolese to win 3-2 to win the AFCON. Yeah. So I'm talking about Osei Kofi right now. So that was the last game that Osei Kofi scored in 1968. He scored in 2-2 against Senegal. He scored in 2-1 against Congo Kinshasa or DR Congo, and then he scored twice in a game against Congo Brazzaville. Ghana won 3-1. That was the last game Osei Kofi scored. The semi-final that Ghana played against Ivory Coast, Ghana beat Ivory Coast 4-3. Osei Kofi never scored in that game. It was Mfum who scored twice. If you remember, Mfum has scored 3 already. So Mfum scored twice in that game, and Sunday Ibrahim scored the other one, and the other one, the last one was Franco Doy. He got the last goal for Ghana. At the final, we lost to Pierre Kalala. He scored a long goal for DR Congo in a 1-0 victory to DR Congo. If you pay attention to the score lines and the way I said it, Mfum was the one closer to scoring in 5 games consecutive. He didn't score at the final, right? And they remember the semi-final. There were no quarter-final. There was only semi-final and the final. So he scored the 3 group matches against Senegal, Congo DR, and Congo Brazzaville. And then the last one was against Ivory Coast. So he scored in 4 consecutive matches. Osei Kofi never scored. In fact, Osei Kofi scored in all games in 1965 in Tunisia. Yeah, that was the tournament. Osei Kofi was adjudged the best player of that tournament. In 1968, it never happened. Osei Kofi never scored 5 goals in consecutive matches. In fact, after Mfum, it was the second next player was Fantamendi Keita, who scored 4 goals. Yeah, he scored 4 goals in 1972. Yeah, 1972, he scored 4 goals for Mali. I'll also give you how it went. Mali played the first game against Togo. Fantamendi Keita scored. Mali played the second game against Kenya, 1-1. Fantamendi Keita scored. The third game was Cameroon, the host nation of 1972 AFCON. Cameroon played 1-1 with Mali, and Fantamendi Keita also scored. The fourth game was against DR Congo. We call it Zaire, DR Congo. DR Congo lost 4-3 to Mali, and again Fantamendi Keita scored twice. Fantamendi Keita scored 5 goals in 4 matches. So he equaled the record set by Wilberforce Kojo Mfum in 1968. In 1972 final, Fantamendi Keita was nowhere to be found. He didn't play in the final, so he was closer to the record set by Brahim Diaz. All this we are talking about Brahim Diaz. Brahim Diaz have scored 5 goals in the AFCON in 5 matches consecutively. Group matches, he scored. Knockout stages, he scored at the quarterfinal. He scored at the semi-final. That is when he failed to score. It is a record. You heard it from me first. It is a record that nobody has done it before. Nobody has done it before. Not Fantamendi Keita in 1972, and not Osei Kofi as it has been proclaimed in some parts in Ghana. He never did it. And then not even Wilberforce Kojo. I'm talking about Kojo is that Lumba. Wilberforce couldn't do it in 1968. And then 1968 was the only tournament that a goalkeeper was named as the best player of the tournament. Was this Robert Kazadi? Yeah, Robert Kazadi won it as the best player of the tournament. He was a goalkeeper who was fantastic in the goal for DR Congo. He played till 1982. 1982 World Cup qualifiers. He played in that. So he played for a very, very long time. So I will leave you here. I just wanted to clear the air about the record set by Brahim Diaz. He is the only one to have scored in 5 consecutive AFCON matches with 5 goals. Wilberforce Mfum scored 5 goals in 4 matches. Yeah, but it wasn't 5 matches consecutively. No. Fantamendi Keita scored 5 goals in 4 matches. Yes, but never scored 5 goals in 5 matches. In fact, the final which they lost to 3-2 to Congo Brazzaville, he didn't play in the final. He was injured. He didn't play in the final. So if he could have played in the final, probably he could have scored and then set that record. So that is what it is. I'll leave you here. I'll give you the records for tomorrow. the AFCON. I'll continue tomorrow. Okay, bye.